Who has been the Cowboys' top training camp standout so far, in your opinion? I want to hear from you, the audience, in the comments section right now. So drop one name only who you have been most impressed by at training camp so far for the Cowboys. Tom Downey here for the Cowboys Report, breaking down my top 10 camp standouts from 10 down to 1. Yes, I left off some notable guys, J-Ron Curse, Zach Martin, etc., who Rico Dowdle have been impressive, but didn't quite crack the top 10. At number 10, I'm going to continue to speak the quote-unquote second breakout, trademarked exclusively, for Dorrance Armstrong. By the way, he's been able to beat one Tyron Smith a few times so far. Armstrong, I believe, is in line to be defensive end number 2 in terms of the snap counts, not including Micah Parsons from that standpoint, who is going to be the hybrid guy there. He's over Sam Williams, who I like, Dante Fowler, Terrell Basham. He had a massive breakout last year. He was not ever good for the Cowboys until last year. Step forward. Can it continue this year? I think it's very possible, and I'm hoping that ends up being the case for the Dallas Cowboys this season. Armstrong's 10. Leighton Vander Esch is number 9. Do not read too far into the Anthony Barr signing as it relates to LVE. He is one of your defensive signal callers, and he's looked really good this year. And I now wonder if the issues that LVE had the last couple years until the back half of last season, was that because he was playing with Jalen Smith and not Micah Parsons? Is playing with that linebacker instead of the one who's still out of the NFL, was that limiting LVE? Was trying to do too much? I wonder if that was the case. Very cheap deal, 1 year, $2 million, just like Anthony Barr. You'll still see some Jabril Cox, hashtag Cox out, but I do feel good about the linebacking core now between Parsons, LVE, Barr, and Jabril Cox. Number 8, Tyler Smith, and I kept him lower, but still on the list because I believe he is the best left guard option the Cowboys have, which, for the record, if he wasn't, I would be concerned because that's probably not a good thing in the end for Tyler Smith. He has not been perfect. Monday's practice, far from his best one overall, but he has looked better than Connor McGovern. And I put him on this list in large part because of the work he's done away from the team. Busting his butt, working with guys like Duke Manyweather, etc. That is a big deal for me. It means he's going to take the steps that he needs to take to try to grow. Doesn't always happen, but I don't think effort is going to be an issue for Tyler Smith at all. He should start week 1 at left guard. Despite that, yes, I would still be a bit worried about that positioning group. So do you trust Tyler Smith? Sound off for me in the comments section. Y for yes or N for no. Let's go to Tony Pollard, number 7 on my list. And the Cowboys appear inclined, finally, at long last, to utilize Pollard more and get one of their most dynamic playmakers the ball in his hands a bit more frequently. Now, I still have doubts about Kellen Moore's ability to scheme touches for guys like Pollard and Lamb, etc., but those are 2 guys who should be utilized in that fashion. I am once again asking the Dallas Cowboys to use Tony Pollard. Maximize his touches. When he's on the field historically, he gets the ball. An abnormally high percentage, which is actually a bit of a tell to opposing defenses. So I want more snaps and more touches for Tony Pollard this upcoming year, or else I'm going to have some concerns about this offense. Even though they were number 1 last year in scoring and they were getting yards, all that stuff, there is room for regression. They got to be a better coached offense and called offense this year. Back to our question of the day. Who has been the top Cowboys training camp standout? If you haven't already, drop that name for me right now in the comments section. Take advantage of it and let me know the top Cowboys camp standout. On to some receivers. I've got 3 on this list, all in the top 6 here. Dennis Houston, unheralded, undrafted free agent out of Western Illinois. He's worked with the ones a lot, a shocking amount so far in camp. The coaches like him. They trust him. Dak apparently likes and trusts him, and that's a big deal. Now, I still think for now, Noah Brown, more on him in a little bit, is the favorite to be the healthy wide receiver 3, even with the Dontario Drummond also back and TJ Vasher, Fehoko, and pressing. I still think Browns has the advantage, but Dennis Houston has gone from being an afterthought among the UDFAs. People were more about Dontario Drummond, Ty Freifogel, etc., to he's been the best UDFA so far on offense altogether. He is pushing hard, both offensively and on special teams, to show he has a role for this team. Now, this video first aired exclusively on Rumble as part of Cowboys Report After Hours. The link is below, rumble.com/CowboysTV. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow us for more free and uncensored videos. Standout number 5, and I kept him at 5 instead of 1 because he's been the best player on the field, but also we kind of already knew that, right? Micah Parsons, who not accidentally labeled as an athlete, edge, linebacker, hybrid. The guy's a superstar already, which is insane to think about given where you got him. And the edge rushing value he's brought was not something anyone in the NFL thought was going to happen. He was an all-around baller last year, and I have seen nothing so far in camp to think that something's going to change this year. 13 sacks or more is absolutely, once again, on the table for Micah pass rusher. So with that in mind, how many sacks will Micah Parsons have this year? Make your predictions for me in the comments section. 13, 14, does he regress? Go more than that? Sound off in the comments. Number 4, CeeDee Lamb. Again, expectations are kind of factored in here. Lamb's number 4, and he and Dak Prescott, who we'll get to at the end of today's show, by the way, teaser alert, that chemistry's going great. I love the aesthetic, by the way, for Lamb. The gold visor, incredibly fire. He has looked like a true wide receiver 1. On Monday, he was cooking Jordan Lewis. And Lewis isn't a bad player. It shows how good Lamb is. The Cowboys have moved him around, outside and slot receiver. In his career so far, we've watched Lamb get better each season. More targets, more catches, more receiving yards, more touchdowns. I believe that will continue this year. I think Lamb will take another step forward and emerge truly as a wide receiver 1. Hopefully, by the way, we finally see Kellen Moore get the ball in his hands a little bit more frequently. All right, number 3, Osa Odighizuwa, the defensive lineman, a second-year player out of UCLA, who I am excited about. He has looked like one of the best defensive linemen, interior and off the edge, so far in camp. I think the year 2 breakout is here for Osa. He's going to be your defensive lineman number 1. You've got Neville Gallimore. You've got Carlos Watkins, Bohanna Ridgeway. The number 1 thing this team has lacked on defense for years now besides safety, is a dynamic interior pressure presence. I am cautiously optimistic that Osa Odighizuwa, Agent 0097, can emerge as that piece. Number 2, that is Noah Brown. And I'm kind of surprised by this one, frankly, that he's been so good in camp. Hopefully could be this year's Cedric Wilson. Later round pick, came in the league around similar time frames and took a big step forward with injuries at wide receiver. He has been consistent. He offers special teams value. He might be your wide receiver 3 right now. 85 Hive lives in Noah Brown and continues for one more year. He's never been that productive for the Cowboys in his NFL career. But this is the best chance he's ever gonna get. Now, would it be a huge surprise if all that receiver depth that is so optimistic right now comes crashing back down to earth? No, not necessarily, but it's camp. It's all about hype, right? So do you believe in Noah Brown? If you do, spam 85 Hive in the comment section for me if you believe Noah Brown can take that Cedric Wilson type step forward this year. Number 1 is Anthony Brown. And I genuinely think he's been the most impressive player at camp so far. Not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect corner. You get beat at least 50% of the time. That's how it works numbers-wise. But Brown's been awesome in camp. The play he's had, the confidence he's played with, the plays he's made on the ball, he's stopped CeeDee Lamb quite a few times. Like, he has been awesome in camp. And I know there's a segment of the fan base that will never, ever, ever like Anthony Brown. No matter what he does, he's never going to be good enough. But he was awesome last year. A lot of yards, I know. Remember, teams threw a lot against the Cowboys. They were winning a bunch of games. Don't read too much into it. Quite a few pass breakups, interceptions. I would bet he gets more opportunities this year in the event the Cowboys and the teams don't throw that much at Trayvon Diggs, which they shouldn't do in the end. Speaking of Diggs and Dak Prescott, not on the list. Don't worry about it. Could easily include Dak Prescott on there. I want to focus on other players because Dak's had some up and down moments. I think the offensive line not being best so far has caused some issues there. I'm not worried about Dak Prescott. I'm not worried about Trayvon Diggs. Neither should you guys. But if you did make it all the way to the end of today's video, I appreciate you. It makes you a real one here at the Cowboys Report. We'll show you some love if you type real one right now in the comments section.